G'day guys, how are we? Welcome to Boxing Deep Dive. I'm just making a few adjustments here to my little set. Great to have you along. Now, I had a little bit of problems with my microphone the other night, guys, so if it is not coming through, please let me know so I can do something about it. Great to have you along. I've got a couple of apologies to make before we get going. Actually, before that, I will have Grant Tazzy Brown on soon. As soon as he's ready to come on, I will bring him on the show. But as I said, a couple of apologies for starters. First of all, last Monday on Talking Boxing, I said we were going to do a boxing deep dive show on the Thursday night. Had a little bit on, so we actually did it on the Saturday at the casino, myself and Mike Altamura at the Star City. But after the Wayne, really good concept, I thought. We got a lot of good feedback, a lot of people coming on, so that was great. The other apology I would like to make is on Monday, our show was interrupted halfway through because, first of all, I had microphone issues. And I'll just check my phone there. I had microphone issues, and then halfway through, the internet in my area decided to shut down. I am with Starlink, which is supposed to be all satellite driven, and it just went kaput. So we did some research afterwards, and it was an area-wide thing. So I'm not sure what happened, but apologies to all you out there. We had a really good viewing audience at the time too. A lot of good discussion. Of course, we're discussing the Tim Tszyu, Tony Harrison show, plus a lot of other stuff. So again, I do apologise for cutting out after about an hour. So it's not all bad. We got an hour in. I reckon we could have gone on for another hour, but it is what it is. So on tonight's show, as I said, Tazzy will be on soon, but we've got, no secret what we're going to go through tonight. It's the whole Tim Tszyu, Tony Harrison card. But not just that, there is so much going on as far as Australian and world boxing is concerned at the moment. What have we got here? So we've got Al Money. I think that's Al, not AI. It's Al Money. Nice to have you along, mate. I'm not sure whether you've been on the show before, but or watched the show, but thank you for joining in. As always, we've got Carl Hunter Hansen. How are you, Carl? Great to have you along. I was just saying, guys, that so we've got the full card. We'll do a full review, of course. We're going to get a really good review from Tazzy himself. He was obviously in the heat of the action there with Bo Belvin, who fought Nikita Zoo. So he'll give us a little bit of a rundown on what it was like on the inner sanctum of the show. And apart from that, there is, I've just did a bit of a count today. There's Andy. How are you, mate? Hello, fans. Lyndon and chat. Yep. I'll keep forgetting to do that, guys. Like, subscribe, share, all that sort of stuff. But thank you for joining in, guys. Now, there is at the moment, I think it's 4 Aussies. I know we've all gone through the Tim Tszyu situation on Sunday. There is now 4 Aussies that could be fighting for world titles in the next couple of months. It's absolutely amazing. So, and we'll go through those as well. One is not one of the big titles, but it is a title, world title. So I'll go through all that. We've got, just going through my list here. We'll go through the Brock Jarvis card as well. That was massive. We had Dara Farley winning on the weekend. Lucas Brown, Jamail Miller is coming up. Talk that maybe Joseph Parker and Dempsey McKean might be getting it on. I've got tonight's fight with Paul Fleming and Charlie Suarez. So we'll cover a little bit of that as well. And that's Frankie D. How are you, Frankie? Looking forward to it, mate. I'm assuming that's the show. Thanks for joining in. Just another thing, guys. If you want to actually send a comment in, feel free. There's a section there, the chat, whether it's a comment or question. Feel free to put them in there. And this is the reason why we do it live, so that we can obviously talk boxing. It's not talking boxing like the Monday show, but you get the idea. So Canelo Ryder has been announced as well. It's been announced, but now it's been officially signed. Fury and Usyk, what is going on there? So much going on. But look, I'm going to go into it quickly. As I said, Tazzy supposed to be on about 5 minutes ago, but it is what it is. Let's get into the show itself. Tim Tszyu and Tony Harrison. I did go through a little bit of this on Monday night. I was there, went up there with Ronnie Pick and Uncle Ronnie. If you haven't seen the YouTube video yet, I might actually put the link in while we're going here, guys, because it was a really good trip. It's on YouTube at the moment. I'll just bring Tazzy in for starters. This is number 2. So I'm going to bring on, so where are we? I'll just grab the link for that, guys, and you can see it for yourself. Where are we? I'm just going to turn the volume down on that. Oh, I'll turn that down. I'll put the link in, and I'm going to put it in there. All right, guys. So there's the link. If you haven't seen it, that is the trip, the video of my trip up to Sydney on the weekend with Uncle Ronnie Pick, and we absolutely had a ball. It was such a great show to be part of. The trip up, the weigh-in, the fight itself, of course. Just the whole trip was great. So without further ado, let's bring in our, well, not my guest, he's co-host, of course. I'm speaking of Grant Tazzy Brown. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Lyndon, mate. How are you?
Yeah, really good, mate. I've just sort of got the show sort of going. We've got a few people in there. And, mate, I just said we're going to go through a full review of the card. You obviously had a big weekend. I suppose it's a bit of an understatement. We'll go through the full card and the fight a bit later. But you've had a couple of days or a day or so to recoup a little bit. How are you feeling a couple of days on?
Yeah, mate. I mean, it was a big camp for us with Bo. I literally got back from America straight away. When I went to watch Tim Tszyu fight, me and my partner went over still, and then pretty much straight into camp with Bo. Plus, training my clients, and look, it was a long camp, and we covered all the bases. We sparred plenty of southpaws. We even had one stay for 2 weeks in camp with my mum's. Recovery, everything was on point. You know what I mean? Towards the end of the camp, I'm thinking, geez, I can't wait for this to be over, and I need a break. But yeah, look, mate, 2 days on, I took a week off work, and I went to Hot Springs today with my partner. Actually, bit of R&R, bit of hot water, bit of cold, bit of saunas, and yeah, mate, I'm back. But as I said, mate, look, obviously there's always a high and a low, and getting ready for such a massive show, the biggest show for 223 by far, and fighting, such a big name like Nikita Zoo, and obviously there's always a high and a low, but we'll go into it further. I know we will, but I'm so proud of my guy, Bo. As I said, look, you can go in and fight, you can box with guys that can just box and pitter-patter, can't hurt you. When you're facing a guy whose punches, bone-crunching punches, I can hear it ringside. Every punch does damage, body and head, and the guy wants to knock you out. He's a baby-faced killer. And I want everyone to go back on BoxRec and look at Tim Tszyu, who I love him, he's my brother. Tim Tszyu at 5 fights versus Nikita Zoo at 5 fights. I think Nikita's got the better record. He's got 3 undefeated fighters on his record. And as I said, Bo, he went in and gave it his all. There'll be he'll never die wondering. I believe he would have went the distance. He got caught. I thought the stoppage was a little soft. I know the referee wants to, look after the fight, and I agree, obviously a trainer, but compared to what Tony Harrison copped against Tim Tszyu, he got his head knocked off and didn't get stopped.
Almost got decapitated,
I think Bo would have went the distance, but look, hats off to Nikita and the team. Spoke to Ben Jens yesterday. Bo will live to fight another day. He's a great kid. I think all of Australia fell in love with him. He's invited Nikita down to Tazzy to go and look at trees and probably spar. And I mean, there's obviously a friendship there. And as I said, look, you fight the fight on the big stage. You fight the fight against the best fighters out there. Probably a future legend like his dad and brother. And you fight for the biggest payday as well. So he didn't disgrace himself. It was all hard. I've had nothing but great phone calls from everyone. And he done himself proud. His family and his coaches, me and Lim Jekka, very proud. So, Bo Belbin, if you're watching, my brother, I love you more than ever. And you'll be back. But Nikita Zoo is the real deal. He's a beast, mate. And he's only getting better. I wouldn't have fought him in a year's time. I fought him now. I wanted to fight him 2 fights ago. Tim Tszyu got better each fight and still getting better each fight. Nikita is on the same path as Tim, just punches a little harder, probably not as technical as Tim, but the Zoos are the Zoo. If you remember Costa Zoo, I ran Costa that night, FaceTimed him. He answered straight away. He's my dear friend. I said, your youngest boy is a freak. The 2 Zoos are Costa Zoo's sons, okay? Chip off the old block, call what you want. They are both animals. With the best team in boxing, Mahoney and Glenn Jennings. And God bless all you guys. But Bo, so proud of you, mate. And as a fighter, Lyndon, you fight for the big moments. And he never He was still throwing punches, landing punches, and I'm very happy for him, mate.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I know
Thank
there's
you.
all. Yeah, that was Andy who said that there. So thanks for saying
Thank
that,
you.
mate. Look, I think the real fans, mate. I think they get it that, and you've made no secret of the fact right through that. Bo was the B side. It was all about Nikita, but mate, I know there's the keyboard warriors out there we all talk about, but I think the real fans understand that when a fighter gets in there and gives it the roll, and it looked like he was just overwhelmed by the volume of punches. And I think you said yourself when we spoke yesterday that Nikita, he's a zoo. He smelled blood and he turned it on, and unfortunately Bo just didn't have it to go with him. And I thought it was actually not a bad stoppage, but I wasn't at ringside. I was up in the tier 2, whatever. But look, I just think you're right though. Tony Harrison almost got decapitated and was allowed to keep going. But mate, I've got all the respect in the world for Bo. Obviously, I know him very well from promoting his early fights, and I'm just glad he's come out, ready to fight another day, and I'm sure he will. Mate, sure there'll be other opportunities for him anyway.
Well, there's a lesson to be learnt. Don't buzz Nikita, because the first right hand he admits it, I buzzed him, and his eye was closing, so he knew he couldn't play with Bo. He couldn't take any risks with Bo. So you got a guy. Sometimes if you hurt a guy or stun a guy, it's probably worse for you. So he knew the eye was closing, and he smelled blood, and he went for it. And as I said, mate, it's different to box when you're in with non-punches and you're just getting hit with tippy-tappy punches. When you're in with a puncher, and there's not many punches in Australian boxing that I call punches.
Yep.
I don't know what it is with Australian boxing. Most are feather-fisted. Harry Garsites and all these guys, not just saying him, but they can't punch. Can't crack an egg open. This guy can punch. Every punch, body and head. His shot selection's amazing. Jeff Fennick said best he's seen him. And he's a killer. Simple as that. So when you're in against a puncher, it changes everything. Bo admits he went off the game plan, because the game plan was a boxer move for the first few rounds and not really sit down or nothing, just give him movement. I wanted to tire him out. I wanted the kid to start reaching with his punches and overcommitting. He didn't do that. He was fully controlled. But when you're in against a puncher, guys, again, I'll say for all you non-boxing guys that haven't had a fight, that haven't been in hit with something, when you're in against a puncher, it's a different story. A different story. Okay?
Yep.
A different story.
It is, mate. And just answer, I've just got Carl there. I think you asked about the shirt. It's pretty apt here, mate. It is what it is. And I suppose we talked about this yesterday, Tazzy. You can analyse it till the cows come home. Sometimes it is what it is. And, we go over it and over it and over it, but sometimes...
It's a bit like Carlton's AFL career since our last grand final win.
Pretty much, mate. It is what it is. It's shit is what it is. But anyway...
Linda, when is Mike out tomorrow giving you a don't glorify rats t-shirt?
Well, I'd like one. We've got I had the Lions Not Sheep on Monday night, so it is what it is. And I've got a few of these type of shirts I like to wear. But
and
I
Linda,
don't
before we go into it,
as
you said, I got to meet. Thank you, mate. Yeah, busy, mate. So busy. Look. I mean, I've been a part of big fights before. I've been a part of Frankie boy, my mate, Frankie Maselli, big boxing fan, knows he's boxing.
Yeah.
Carlos Monzon, the greatest middleweight of all time, Argentina. Carlos Monzon, the greatest.
We'll have to have a chat about it.
He's a good man, Frankie. But, mate, look, I've been a part of big fights before, Luke Jackson's career. Towards the end, I was in a couple of mundane corners, and I've been around, mate, you know what I mean? But this was huge, and I solely had the fight of myself. Me and Luke Jackson and Billy Hussein, we were a team, but Bo was solely my fighter. Obviously, Lim Jecker helping, obviously, heaps Lim Jecker. Shout out to Lim Jecker and Pursuit Boxing Yarraville. Shout out to Dave Birchall.
I saw him in
your old nemesis, but a great guy, Birchie. Everyone loves Birchie. Yeah. But, I put my heart and soul into this one on you, Frank. And that's all I can do as a trainer manager. I got him paid the best I got paid.
Yep.
I got him paid the best. I got him the biggest name at his level he's at. And we trained him. And if Bo wasn't ready, he would have got stopped in round one.
Yeah.
But he was ready.
Yeah.
And I believe he did touch Nikita a few times. The eye didn't happen. He didn't fall over on the way to the ring. He got hit. So he had a crack. Peter Maniatis, where are you? I said to John Camilleri at the weigh-in, your manager hides under the bed naked, yelling, Tazzy, stop it, Tazzy, stop it, Tazzy. Yeah, Fight Hype, shout out to Fight Hype. Peter, come back, mate, the quiz. I'm hungry to destroy someone. Mike Atsumura, Peter Maniatis, I want to put my throat on your neck. Anyone wants to step up to the quiz, I will rip your heart out.
All right, well, we'll talk. There's a couple of questions there as well from the guys about the fight, so we'll get to. I see Jules has got one there. Paul Camilleri, welcome to the show, guys. But we'll just start with the main fight first. And once we get to Nikita and Bo, Tazzy can answer those questions. So let's get into it first, Tazzy. Of course, this is what the show's all about. It's Tim Tszyu stops Tony Harrison in 9 rounds. It was an amazing fight. I must admit, I wasn't quite sure what. Look, I'll take that back. I had a suspicion what Tim would bring. We've obviously seen him. He's from that great pedigree. But I must admit that I wasn't quite sure what would happen under those big bright lights. 10,000 people there. Tony Harrison, a lot, very much experienced. What did you make of it? I thought it was very, very clinical. And I just don't think he could have done any better if, in any other universe, to be honest.
Mate, I visited Tim in training camp in Vegas. As I said, I was there to watch Tim Tszyu. That didn't happen, but I kept my tickets and I went over and watched him spar. Tim was saying he was on another level after the 10-week training camp, sparring everyone. I'm very close to Team Mahoney, and they told me when he sparred O'Meary Jones a few times, they said this is so strong. They've never, they were praising Tim Tszyu, and I predicted round 9. I did say it was a risky fight and all that, but also too, I knew that Tony's a great fighter, mate. You can't take enough away from him, but this is Tim Tszyu's era. He has probably old legs, travelling only a week to Australia, and also too, the times he's been stopped in 9th or 10th round. I knew he wouldn't be able to handle Tim's pressure or his powers later in the fight. Tim dominated a masterclass, and he done everything I thought he would do. Tim's a real deal. And Charlo will see it as well. You can keep saying something, but when you're in there with Tim, and I got told this from Billy Hussein a couple of years ago, when you're in there with his boys are sparring Tim, he's so naturally strong, and it's different being in there with him. So all you haters can keep raving on saying he's at an elevator to the top in his dad's name. He is Tim Tszyu. He's made his own name, and he can fight. And I believe he'll beat Charlo, beat Spence, could go down as one of the greatest we've ever had. I really believe that. And his brother's not far behind him. Congratulations, Tim Tszyu, my brother. I'm not just saying it because he's a dear friend, but I respect him, and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, no, I'm right. There's Carl there. I don't think they're going to melt the Joe Lewis statue down there, mate. But that's. I've got a comment from Carl. Sorry, it was Paul, I think, earlier. And I just want to find it. And I think we'll go to Nikita and Bo after this because there's a few things in there about that. So I just want to make sure I don't miss that, especially with the new comments coming through. All right, Paul Camilleri. I'm not sure whether you're in relation to our old mate Camacho, but Paul, it's hi man. As great as Costa and Tim will be, Nikita will be a giant killer once he hits the USA. Exciting, strong, quick, and continuous volume punching. He'll be greater than them all. Well, is that a bold statement, Tazzy, or does Nikita have the potential to be the best out of all three of them?
Look, he's got the potential. I mean, Tim told me last year that he hits harder than me, and he's got dad's power. And I went, really? Like, look, it's so hard to compare anyone to Kuso Tszyu because for you guys out there that don't know, Kuso Tszyu had 300-odd amateur fights in the Soviet Union. To be the champion of the Soviet Union, you had to beat Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Romania, Armenia, all them great countries. Anyone could be a gold medalist, but to represent the Soviet Union, to beat all them guys, then you got to go and beat Cuba, Germany, America, England to win the World Championships.
Yeah.
Go back and watch the 1991 Amateur World Championships in Sydney. Kuso Tszyu versus Vernon Forrest, the greatest amateur fight exhibition of boxing I've ever seen in my life. Kuso Tszyu was a freak. Then he came to Australia. knocked everyone out, had American sparring partners, a bit like Tim now, good Americans, but current world champions coming down the sparring. It's very hard to compare Costas to his sons because his sons only had so many amateur fights. I think Tim had 30, Nikita might have had 40 or 50 as a kid. They both have potential, don't get me wrong. They do. But also, too, they were brought in a nice environment, a nice life where Costa was born. I think 2 families were living in a 1-bedroom apartment in Serov, Russia, in Siberia, the snow. And very, very different when you upbringings where Costa, it was building the life. These kids are on a mission, and I love them both, and they've got the potential, definitely, but very hard to pass their father because such a legend. But mate, they're there, and they're going to do their best anyway. So I wish them both the best. But don't sleep on Nikita. At 5 fights in, his record matches up the Tins pretty well.
Well, just while we're on that, I'll just jump to it now before I lose it in the chat there. Jules said, Tazzy, keen to know what you learned from the fight, good and bad, about both Nikita and Bo.
Nikita hits harder than I even expected. Look, Bo was meant to fight Nikita instead of Jeff Horn. Okay? Well, let me get this right. Bo was meant to fight Nikita when he fought Smith. Was it Mason Smith? We got off the fight. We got off the fight Nikita in Newcastle before Mason Smith. At the time, I tried to get more money and No Limit didn't go for it. They went for Mason Smith. We all know what happened there. Mason Smith is a great fighter, by the way. So we were meant to fight him then. Then we were meant to fight him instead of Ben Horn. And at the time, it just wasn't at the right time. For Bo, so we let that one go as well. I wish we had a 40 when he fought Ben Horn because I know each fight this kid's going to get better. And you wouldn't go near Nikita Zoo in a year's time. So to answer your question, he hits harder than what I expected. He was more patient and calculated this time because I thought last couple of fights, he lunged a bit, he rushed a bit. He was so controlled. Another thing is be careful about hurting him because then it stings him into action even more. With Bo, it just showed me he had a bigger heart than what I thought he did, a better chin than I thought he did even. I knew Bo would have trouble with the southpaw style and possibly, the power of Nikita. But we went in the fight to win the fight. We covered all bases. There's nothing we could have done more. We just got beat by a better fighter. Nikita is another level. And he's younger, fresher, and got the best team in boxing. We done our best at what we got, and Bo's fighting in 10 weeks. Actually, he's back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess there's a lot I learned about it. But what can you do? Like Linda said, is what it is. At least we were in the fight. We were there. Bo can never sit back and at the pub, or he doesn't really go to the pub, to be honest with you, or and think about I could have done this, I could have done that. He fought one of the best future stars in boxing, one of No Limit's main fighters, and he had a crack. He was there till the very end. I don't think it should have been stopped, but he was still swinging just as the referee stopped the fight.
Yeah, well, before we move on to the rest of the cards, though, with Tim. So Jamail Tyler obviously had a little bit to say after it. He said he wasn't impressed and still doesn't change anything. He's still going to knock Tim out. And I notice a lot of American, whether they be on social media or the fighters or experts or commentators, really still struggling to give Tim Tszyu his due and actually say that he is a legitimate chance of beating Jamail Tyler.
Yeah, Americans, they're really not giving him much credit. I just really think he's just Costa's baby boy. I mean, they're not really giving him any credit, which is crazy. What's that pop up? Hang on. Something just... Right there. They're really not giving him no credit. Are you there, Lyndon? Can you still see me?
All good. Yeah, all good.
Some pop-up thing come up on the laptop. They're obviously not giving him no credit. So once he knocks out Charlo, Spence will probably say he's still overrated. So America can be America. America never appreciate Jeff Fennick till he fought Zuma Nelson. Tell you now.
Yeah.
So you got to really go over and destroy the Americans. I think so. Yeah.
So the Candy Man is American. So he was on Monday night having a bit to say. So we're talking about the same Errol Spence, and there's been a little bit of a chat there, guys. I'll let you sort it out there with that in the chat there. Hey, I just forgot at the start too, Tazzy. On a more serious note, I'd just like to send out condolences to the family of Josh Butler. Josh Butler fought on a few of my shows and was a real known fighter in Melbourne. Unfortunately lost his life yesterday, I think it was. So, full condolences to the family of
very sorry to hear it. The guy only wished us good luck last week on Facebook, so I'm very sorry to hear that. My condolences to the family.
Yeah, you don't like to see that. Carl, Jamail makes me laugh. This long layoff will cost Charlo a win. Activity. Yeah, well, he thinks he's going to be okay, Carl, but geez, by the time he gets in there, it'll be probably 18 months, I think. And they're talking about, I think, July or August for this fight to happen. It's a long time to be out, but seems to run in the family, doesn't it? So let's get on to, just while we're talking, mate, actually, I'll go to the next slide. Nikita there. So just to recap on it, mate. So you said Bo's going to fight again another 10 weeks. He's all set to go. Nikita, what's next for him, do you think?
For Bo or Nikita?
Oh, for both.
Bo fights May 27th in Hobart, defending his Australasian title and fighting for an IBO regional.
Yep.
Opponent will be named soon. And he's even hungry to get back in there now because he knows he's at that level now. He took Nikita's best shots. He landed some good shots. He knows that he's not far from that level. So Bo will be back soon, mate. And so May 27th. And Nikita, I think Nikita is going to fight
next month.
In my opinion, I think he's going to fight in Melbourne in April. I think he's going to fight Ben. He's going to fight Ben Bomber. Sorry if I've spilled the beans on anyone, but I think he's going to fight Ben Bomber.
Yeah, so you're right.
That's
I was just trying to say, Carl. We all agree on
Billy
that.
Dib, my dear friend, my brother, mate. So happy for Billy Dib. He's a beautiful guy, and it was great news when I heard that. So Billy Dib's one of the good guys in the game. But I think Nikita's. I've heard a rumor he might be fighting Benjamin Bomber. So.
Yeah, well, it sort of makes sense. Obviously, it's going to be in Melbourne. That was, I think, the show Harry Garside was supposed to be on before he pulled out to go on. Is it I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here? And of course, Johnny Lewis.
He's on some TV show. I don't know if he's wearing a dress or makeup or
a ballerina skirt or something.
But Luke Jackson is waiting ready anytime he wants to fight. So he's there anytime.
All right. Now let's go on to the rest of the undercard, mate. We'll start at the bottom of the card. It was the fight before Nikita and Bo. It was Ben Marney or Mahoney, however you want to. I'm going to call him Marney, and Cohen Mazzudia. So the official scores, I'm just going to bring them up here, was 97-93 for Marney, 97-94 for Mazzudia, 95-95 apiece. Look, I know, Tazzy, you probably didn't see a lot of, or you wouldn't have seen this one. You didn't see a lot of the fights because you're out the back and everything else. But in my opinion, I did say this on the show the other night, I thought Ben Mahoney did more than enough to win the decision. And I am a fan of Cohen Mazzudia. I really like the way he fights. But I just don't think in this instance he was busy enough. I don't think he landed enough shots. Tazzy, like the fight itself, I mean, on paper, the whole card was a stack, but Ben Mahoney, Cohen Mazzudia didn't even make the pay-per-view event, and it could have easily been a headline in itself.
Yeah, I'm surprised that was the one before us, so I guess I had to cut some fights down on pay-per-view, but obviously quality fight. I thought, I predicted Mahoney to win it, I've got no connection to either guy, but both nice guys, both said hello to me. I heard he probably should have got it, but I actually missed it. I didn't get to see it.
Yeah. Look, it was an entertaining fight. I thought it depends on how you look at it. Cohen Mazzudia, like he probably always does, push the action. Ben Mahoney, just boxed pretty well. I just thought he landed the better shots, but they'll run it back, no problems at all. But that was a really good fight to kick off. There was a fight before that, or two fights actually. There was Chanel Dargan who got the points over Courtney Martin. And the Russian. I don't know. You probably know you've seen him, mate. But Iman Karayev fought Ji-Sung Guak. Now, Katev Katiev, I think it is, 2-0. Guak was 4-0. But, geez, I was sitting on level 2, and those punches you could hear up in the rafters, mate. He is a beast. Mike Altamura was obviously full of praise about him before the fight. He's one of Mike's fighters, but he looks like that typical Russian mould where he's going to take some beating once he gets a few fights under his belt.
I had dinner with his manager and Mike and Limjeka the night before. I met the Russian boxer, and I've actually swapped numbers with him.
Yep.
Because he's also a Chechen Russian, which something that I'm very big.
Yep.
I've learned a lot about. I've done a lot of history about Chechnya actually. So yeah, he's a great fighter. He got a bronze at the Olympics, and he actually just recently beat the gold medalist, the one that beat Kuso at the Olympics. He beat him recently. Yeah,
in the pros.
He's a beast. Okay. He's the next better DF.
Yeah, it definitely looks like, doesn't he? He's definitely a beast. Another controversial decision on the card was Roland Murdoch with a split decision over Isaac, the head splitter Hardman. The official scores were 96-93 for Hardman, 97-92 for Murdoch, and 97-92 for Murdoch. So two judges, there was a point deduction, of course. Two judges had it 8-2 for Murdoch, and the other judge had it, 6-4 for Hardman. So, look, Isaac, apart from, he's probably my top 5 Aussie boxers that I really admire and respect. But I've got to say, I thought, again, I know you wouldn't have seen this one, but I really thought Roland Murdoch did enough to win. I thought he won probably the first 5 rounds, or at least 4 of the first 5 rounds. And I just think that Isaac really struggled to get out of sort of second gear. I know he got going later in the fight, but I thought that even though he landed a few, that Roland Murdoch really matched him and came back. And I just don't think Isaac did enough to win. And I know he had a little bit to say after the fight, but I'm not sure if you've seen any highlights of it. But in my opinion, Roland Murdoch did more than enough to win.
I didn't see it, Lyndon. Didn't see it actually. I got a lot. I like Hardman and Blair a lot. Yep. They're great guys. Spent a bit of time with them in the hotel in fight week. Also, first time I met Ryan Murdoch, but he was a gentleman. And Chris Carden, his trainer, great guy. First time I met him too, and we hit it off like a house on fire, obviously free Mikey. So, look, 2 good guys, 2 good fighters. I can't say because I haven't seen it. And maybe they can run it back, but I heard it was a good fight. And it was a 50-50 fight, and that's what No Limit's bringing. And I want to say a quick shout-out. I'm not playing the suckhole game here either. No Limit, Maddie and George and Trent Rose and one of the girls that work from Amy. Treated like royalty we were. We were, a chauffeur, car driver every day, straight away text message, bang, right there for us when we left the casino. Driven around everywhere. Obviously, Star Casino can't get much better than staying there. But everything, just the professionalism, the treatment, a few tickets I needed for sponsors. They looked after me. So I don't know if they watch this show, but I really want to thank you to No Limit, Matt Rose, George Rose, Trent Rose, and Amy. That's why you got the Fox deal, because you're the best in the business. And I really want to thank you. And I hope to be working with you guys again soon.
Yeah, no, I concur, mate. And look, I wasn't part of it like you were, but just up there for the experience. And I've been over to the States many, many times to the big fights over in Vegas, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Canelo. I've been to all those big fights. And I've got to say, I said this on my video on YouTube at the moment, that I think it just more than measured up to those events. I thought the atmosphere was great. I thought the whole show was so professional. And, of course, when Tim had him rocked, the roof was about to lift off. But I really liked not just the fight night itself, but the festivities leading up to it, the weigh-in. It was really, really cool. Weigh-in, sort of where they did it. The press conference, all that sort of stuff. I thought it was A1. And, it was right. That's a good question there, Carl. Do you know anything about the pay-per-view numbers yet, Tazzy? They haven't been released yet?
Good question, mate. I have no idea.
I'd say they would have been big. big.
I reckon they would have been big.
Yeah, it would have been massive. So I think let's just say they would have covered their costs. I reckon, Carl. Let's just say that. But no, it was just great. Now I've got to say, I'm not sort of picking anything on the card. I've got to say after that, though, we had a couple of fights that weren't exactly main event show setters, I suppose, or stage setters. The Sam Goodman fight was a bit of a battle, I must admit. Look, he just did enough to win. There's no dramas about that. But it was 97-92, 98-92, 100-89. He pretty much won every round. And look, I could probably see it, Tazzy, that TJ Doney, a former world champion, Sam Goodman, probably it was his biggest fight to date. I can understand him just doing enough just to win the rounds and get the win under his belt. So, as I said, for a spectator, it wasn't great as far as watching it, but I totally understand. No risks were taken. He just got the rounds, won the fight, and he moves on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it was a big step up. I mean,
yeah, it was,
paper,
yeah. Well, Mike was confident, Mike Altamura.
On paper, it was a cracking fight against a former world champion. So, but sometimes the hype of the fight doesn't deliver.
Yeah.
From their point of view, and if I was his trainer and manager, my good friend Peter Matreski, baby Matreski Jr., they got the win, and that's all I'll be happy with. You didn't take no risks, but yeah, I know what you mean, Lyndon. But it's the same as you're going to go on about the Kuso as well.
Yeah.
Another big step up against. another big step up though on paper.
Yeah. No, it was, and that's the thing. As I said, as a spectator sitting in the out, I was like, "Geez, let's get the show rolling." But I can fully understand from the boxing side of point of view, just former world champion, get the rounds in, or win the rounds and win the fight, and then obviously we move on. Speaking of the Kuso fight, where are we? Yeah, so Paulo Kuso, unanimous decision over. Was it Gonzalez? Was it Unieski Gonzalez? So 97-92, 99-90, 189. I pretty much gave him every round, and I got to say though, Tazzy, even though same thing, Paulo didn't take any risks. He just did what he had to do. So much talent, and that combination that he knocked Gonzalez down. I think it was the 6th round. Yeah, that just shows what this guy's capable of. He is something special. No,
he is, mate. He's a very, very, very good fighter. All the skills in the world, and I just hope he sort of keeps improving, and probably got to be a bit careful of the showboating, because you're not going to get away with that with Bivol and Beterbiev, or the guy that fought the first fight of the night, the Russian. But he's got all the skill in the world, mate. I mean, so much class and talent, and geez, I mean, he can go. The sky's the limit for a Kuso. He's a beautiful boxer.
Yeah, it certainly is. Kuso strikes as a boxer that won't need 20 fights to fight for a title. I would say 7 or 8, Carl, if they want to rush him. I mean, I think I was asked this question last week on Talking Boxing. I mean, how many fights, do you need? But I think it depends on the fighter.
You can fight for a title. Yeah. Doesn't mean you're going to win it though, mate.
Yeah. And light heavyweight. It's not like he's walking into just anyone.
Again, Bivol and Beterbiev are both 2 pound for pound. Yeah. Top 7s.
Yeah.
All right. He doesn't beat them guys. So how can you say, I mean, did he just fight for world title to get beat?
Yeah.
I know Liam Wilson almost pulled it off, but even that was soon.
Yeah.
I don't see the rush for these guys these days. Everyone's in a hurry. I don't really see the rush. Sometimes they're not ready. I mean,
I'm with you, mate. 100%. I don't understand.
We go back to the old school Lyndon, Shannon Taylor, and guys like that,
Robbie Pete,
Aaron Obar, and Robbie Pete, and so why now do we do it faster? Is it because it's easier to get a shot?
Yeah.
Is it social media? What is it? Because the fighters aren't better.
No,
I'm not saying they're worse. They're not better. So. Why is everyone in a hurry now to fight for a world title, and the guys behind them are pushing them so fast?
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm with you, and I like you hear Glenn Jennings talk about Nikita, and he did it with Tim. It was about getting the right opponents, getting rounds into them, getting some experience, taking him around the country, all that sort of stuff. And I just think, especially in Nikita's situation, because he had obviously 8 years off between his amateur career and his pro career, so 100%. I can understand that. But look, no doubt Paulo Kuso's got all the ability in the world, but it's not like he's walking in as anyone. This is, you know, we're going to talk about Michael Zarafa in a minute. I mean, he's let's just say he's got a lot easier path than fighting a better Biev or a Bivol. But that's the situation he's in. What's that, mate? Are you back?
I lost you.
Oh, all good, mate. All good. All right, well, let's get on to the other. Well, I did say about Chanel Dargan and the Russian. Let's get on to the earlier show in the week. It was Brock Jarvis is back on the winners list. And just before you comment there, mate, we are about 40 or 50 seconds ahead there, guys. There's a lag because of the tries to keep everything nice for the stream. So if you're asking questions or commenting and we are a little bit behind, we'll go back. But Brock Jarvis, Tazzy, I'll give my opinion first. Look, it was great. I think it was great to get the win under his belt, but Mike and I spoke about it on Saturday. I am still a little bit concerned with the amount of punishment that he's taking at the moment.
Yeah, look, you know, Brock's a great guy. He's a great young man, and obviously, you know, my old coach, Jeff Fennick, I've got the utmost respect for and love. Mate, look, I was very nervous when he got hurt in the second round, and I thought, not again. I mean, I thought, you know, the kid's back. He got over the knockout. He's back and he's on main event. This is his time. He's put in the training camp. For please, no. And thank God he come back and, you know, and got the win and showed toughness. And but yeah, look, you know, I just don't know how he got so big, how so muscular. Because to me, you know, going up so many divisions and looking awesome in his body, to me, that doesn't help him in boxing because. When you go up in weight divisions, you don't take your power. You don't take your chin doesn't go with you. It's hard in boxing. Besides Manny Pacquiao, but there's a few question marks over that. I won't say too much, but you know, there is question marks. But usually when you go up in weight, for all you non-boxing people that don't know fuck all about the sport, it's not normal to go up in so many weight divisions because the guys punch harder, and you don't usually take your power or your chin with you. In fact, he's moved up so many divisions and he's so big up top now. But, you know, he's a great fighter. He's a great kid, and I'm backing him all the way. I like to see him at lightweight, not light waterweight, if he can make it. Any bigger than that, I definitely don't think waterweight suits him. No. So I just hope they get the right weight division for him. But Jeff Fennick is always going to be good, and Brock is a beautiful guy and he can fight. I really like to see him do well. I didn't like seeing him get hurt again. Yeah. Even though he won the fight. But you don't want to be having playing Russian roulette every fight, especially at that level. Yeah. So I would like to, I really wish him the best, mate. As I said, because he's a great young guy and he's dedicated. I just wish they'd work out. I'm not a big fan of getting so big. I think muscles are for the beach and not for boxing. And that's my honest opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And look, it's not a knock on Brock at all. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Brock, but it was a catch weight of 65 point something, I think it was, and I think he did actually struggle to make that weight, which means, you know, he's going to have to fight at light welterweight, and you know, and this guy wasn't a puncher, and that's the sort of thing that worries me a little bit as well.
What are you saying? He's struggling to make waterweight. He's saying he's struggling to make the waterweight limit, Lyndon. So is he going to be waterweight?
This guy wasn't a big puncher, and you know, I was like you. I was sort of watching like this. I was thinking, oh no, not again. Really and he pulled it out, which is great. But I do have to worry that it's not that he's taking punches. They're visibly shaking him and rocking him to the point where he's almost out. But anyway, let's just hope he gets this one out the road. They go back to the gym, work on a few different things, and 100%. He's in great
100%, mate.
Great hands, as you know, mate, and that's the main thing. Well, so
I wish nothing but Brock and Jeff Fennick the very best. And as I said, and he's a champion, mate. And I just hope that they work out what weight division he's going to be, and then just not get no bigger because stick to your weight division, maybe trim down a bit with the muscular stuff, and just be a nice lean boxer. Yeah, and he'll be fine.
I watched one of his fights the other day when he was fighting in, I think, super bantamweight, and he was so lean and he was so big, but now he's just like someone's got the pump and.
I know you grow, but he's obviously been doing a lot of weights, and it just doesn't work for boxing. Yeah, you do strength conditioning, but unless you're a heavyweight like Evander Holyfield, big muscles don't suit boxers.
Yeah,
no. Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns is the skinniest guy ever and can knock anyone out.
And he wouldn't have been a bodybuilder, I wouldn't have thought. So, another big fight on the weekend, mate.
Mikey, I'm doing boxing deep dive, Mike, and you're not on it. I'm on air, so can I call you?
You're supposed to be on tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You can call me.
Do you want to say anything while I'm on air, Mike?
No, tell Lyndon that I'm just about to fly out.
You tell him you were supposed to be on.
He's about to fly out from Sydney, Lyndon.
Oh, okay. Well, all the best.
Promise a glorious return next week.
All right, Mike. We'll see you there, mate. Hope you do the quiz with me so I can bury you like the Undertaker buried Kane. You little punk.
All right.
I'll see you later. See you later, you little punk.
All right. Another big fight on the weekend. Dara Farley didn't really get a lot of screen time because of what was happening on Sunday. Now, I must have only seen a few highlights, but geez, I think it was the third round in Liverpool. Robbie Davies Jr., that ankle, geez, it looked a little bit like the Conor McGregor injury. It wasn't as bad, but geez, well, he got the win anyway. But I think it was third round injury win anyway.
Mate, yeah, happy for Dara. He obviously it was a big fight for him, and he pulled it off, mate. And he's like that sort of guy, a bit of a boogeyman, Dara. And he's gone over and got the chocolate. So very happy for him, and I hope that Eddie Hearn put him on a business class flight back home.
Yeah, he's as I said, I only saw some highlights of it, and of course the injury. But look, all the best to Dara and his trainer Ben Sava. Look, I think it's a little bit of the Stevie Sparks situation with the disqualification, sort of thing. It's a little bit of a Stephen Bradbury type of moment. But I'd love to see them fight again so that we can see. And I'm sure Dara would be the same. To fight again. And let's do it for real, and let's get a result this time. So while I'm happy with him that he got the third round win, I'm just reserving judgment till I actually see him do it for real. But I got no doubt from what I saw that he can do it. So all the best to Dara and the team and Ben Sava and everyone down there as well. Now, Jules says, Dara didn't waste a second calling Stevie Spark out after the fight. I did see that, Jules. Now, that's a great fight. I personally think Stevie Spark is a bit too strong for Dara. I think Dara takes a few too many punches for me, but he has improved his skill set under Ben Sava, so I might be wrong. But, geez, either way, you throw in Liam Paro in the mix and maybe Brock Jarvis in the mix as well, and we've got a great, great division for Aussie boxing. Now, speaking of Aussie boxing, as I said at the start of the show, there are 4 potential world title fights coming up in the next couple of months. Tazzy, you with us here, mate? You haven't fallen asleep? Good, just checking.
It's
all good, mate. It's all good. Let's start.
Oh, did he call out? Did he call out? I didn't. Did he call out Stevie? Did he? I didn't see the interview. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So as I said, there are 4 potential Aussie world title fights. This first one is not really one of the recognised ones, but it's still a title. I'm referring to George Kambosos IBO title fight, but it's not really about that. George himself said, look, it's not the world title, but it's a world title. It gets him ranked number 2, I think, with the IBF. And, of course, if he gets that and Devin Haney beats Lomachenko and moves up, that title will become vacant, which means George can fight for that. Or worst case, if Lomachenko wins, then George is very confident that Lomachenko will give him an opportunity because George offered him the chance first up before he had to, before the war and everything else. But it's Maxie Hughes for the IBO lightweight title. Tazzy, it's looking like it's going to be June in Sydney at this stage, but there are dramas already because they're struggling to get a TV provider because, of course, Fox is aligned and Main Event are aligned with No Limit, and George can't fight with No Limit because he's aligned with Lou DiBella. So there's a little bit of manoeuvring that still has to happen.
Oh, so even as big as this is internationally, Main Event, they only deal with. That's pretty poor, though.
The only way that can be televised is at this stage is if he fights under the No Limit banner. But of course, Lou DiBella's his promoter.
I thought that would only be with Fox Sports shows. I didn't know that would be Main Event. If you got an Australian
as well. Yep.
That's pretty poor, though. So that means anyone just say, well, the Maloney's aren't with No Limit. So what about if you want to televise Jason Maloney or Angel Maloney? That's pretty shit.
No, anyway, it's in Australia is what I'm saying. Like if the Maloney's fight overseas, that's fine. But if it's in Australia, it's No Limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll be saying fucking, I don't know.
Go overseas.
Listen, if anyone deserves this, is George.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what belt it is. He's earned the right after a war of Lopez and 2 wars of Haney. So he's sitting pretty. He'll beat this guy. He'll be ranked 1 or 2 IBF, and he'll fight either for a vacant title when Devon leaves, or against Lama or someone. So George will be world champ. George will get a world title shot again, mate. Yeah.
Good call there, Jules. Reminder that I did have it on our list there, mate, that Showtime Fleming is fighting Charlie Suarez tonight. Is it on pay-per-view? I didn't know that. It's on streaming platform, obviously. Fight TV, there you go.
Yeah, good luck, Paul Fleming. Great boxer, and taking on a tough Filipino. This is a dangerous fight. So good luck, Showtime Fleming.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I'm sure they'll sort something out. There's too much at stake with a no limit thing. Maybe no limit will work in conjunction with Lou DiBella, whatever. I'm sure they'll work something out. But at the moment, as it stands, there's an impasse because no limit, the sole rights holders in Australia, and if the fight's in Australia, it's got to go under their umbrella. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, good fight for George. I'm with you, Tazzy. I think he deserves another crack at it. And if he wins his fight, the odds are he'll get a crack at the vacant IBF title if Devon Haney wins and moves up. The other one that I'm sure everyone wants to talk about tonight, it's Michael Zarafa. Now, there's a lot of talk earlier in the chat there. It's probably gone too far to go back and have a look, but he's gone the WBA route, however you want to call it, against Arislandi Lara, 39 years old, mind you, but he is the interim champion. He had the fight with Falcone for the IBF title. He's foregone that to go for the WBA title, and surprised a lot of people, including Falcone, who called him out on social media today, called him a coward, I think he did. Which is probably nothing new for Michael to have these things thrown at him. But what do you think? I actually don't mind the fight with Lara. I think it's a great fight.
Is it for the interim or full title?
No, the full title, full WBA title.
I mean, Lara's the harder fight. I mean,
I agree.
You can say his age, but Lara, you got to go back and watch the Canelo fight. He could have beat Canelo.
Yeah.
He's
was a few years ago, but still.
Lara's a great fight, yeah, but he's still got the belt. He's still up there. Otherwise, so probably a more dangerous fight, but it must be bigger pay, or I'm not sure why, because I don't really know Falcone much about him. I don't think he's a killer, but
no.
But I don't know, man. He's going to do what's best for him. He's in the position to fight for 2 belts. So if you got options like that, you're in a good position, yeah. So him and his team will do what's best for them. They've obviously had a talk about it and thought that Lara is the best option. Look, he's got Elvis Grant with him as a manager. Elvis Grant's a legend in America, the famous Grant gloves, and he's connected as. So I'm pretty sure between Elvis Grant and the team, I think they're probably found a reason to go this route, the WBA route, not the IBF.
Yeah, look, I think either way, I think what would have happened, of course, is the whole team would have sat down, they would have laid it all on the table and said, all right, we've got pretty much a shot at either title. Which one are we going to go down? Now, obviously, it's probably best for as far as, of course, money and who they think is going to win. I read something, though, that I agreed with that. They said that if he wins the WBA title, he's still able to then maybe challenge for the IBF title after that. Whereas if he wins the IBF title, the WBA will throw him out of the WBA ranking. So I think that might be a reason why that makes sense. That if he fights for the WBA, the IBF will then still have him in the mix to fight for their title, but not the other way around.
Smart. Sounds pretty smart to me, mate.
Yeah, no, well, I'm sure, like you said, Elvis Grant, he's been around a long time. This is what he's been employed for Michael to do, to make these decisions. So I don't think it's got anything to do with he thinks he's going to beat one more than the other, or he's running from someone. I've got nothing to do with that. And I know we've gone over this shit 100 times with the whole coward shit from running and all that sort of stuff. I think we get over that. I think this was more a business decision. And look, you got to be in it to win it. And love him or hate him, he's going to fight for the world title.
That's right, Lyndon. That's right.
What do we got there? So, Mr. Pads. Deep dive, got to remember here that Triple G vacated the WA did to avoid fighting Lara. Was that the case? Or I got a feeling, mate, my gut feeling is it was more of a not having the spark at the moment, mate. Or just not having it. he would have been had pressure to defend it against Lara. But maybe he's just not feeling it at the moment. Maybe he's in two minds about whether to retire or whatever, and he's just decided to relinquish it. Because, I mean, if Triple G wants to fight any of these guys,
Triple
he's
G
going to
don't
get
need
shot
belt.
straight away.
Triple G doesn't need a belt. He's bigger
That's
than
right.
that.
Yeah, it's one of those fighters that don't need belts. So
Not many fighters, Milo, Floyd, people like that.
Yeah. Lara Falcone's best option. Yeah. No, Andy agrees. So, no, I'm with you, mate. But look, that's the next one. So that's we've got Cambosis. We've just had Tim. Then we're going to have Cambosis now. We've got Zarafa. Now on to these guys, and we know these guys very well. Of course, it's Team Maloney, Jason Maloney, and Andrew Maloney. Now both look like fighting for world titles within the space of a week, if you will. So
It's
Andy,
amazing, Lyndon. Amazing.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So actually, I had it on my screen before, guys. So just bear with me for a sec. So it looks like now I've got to get this right, and I'm not talking out of school here because it's pretty much been all over the social media in the last few days. So it looks like on May the 13th, Jason will fight the Filipino Vincent Astrolabio. So Jason's number 1, Astrolabio is number 2. So that'll be for the vacant WBO title. So that will be somewhere in the States. I don't think it's been locked in yet, but that'll be on May the 13th. And then a week later, on May the 20th. Now, big card in Vegas, Lomachenko, Mahoney. Looks like Andrew Maloney will fight for the IBF, I think it was. Hang on, just bear with me again. IBF title against Shunto Nakatani from Japan. So they'll fight on the undercard of Haney Lomachenko at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. So how is that in the space of a week? Jason Maloney on the 13th and Andrew Maloney on the 20th. And, for guys like us who have been following them since day one, in my case, promoting them for 9 fights, unbelievable news for the two boys.
Yeah, Linda, look, I mean, Australian boxing is such a healthy place at the moment. I'm not going to go and have the debates about is it the best era and all that stuff because we've had some great eras. But at the moment, for getting title shots, it's bloody up there. I mean, Liam Wilson has had a title shot. Tim's just won an interim. Zarafa's got one. These guys are now. So, but look, Lyndon, mate, you promoted them from day one, and the boys know what they owe you. Amazing effort. For those who don't know, Lyndon Hoskins and HP Promotions played a massive part in bringing the boys along early days, and not so early, right up until they went to America.
A little company called Top Rank took over.
Yeah, but and like me just being in Tazzy with Luke Jackson, hosting the boys as amateurs.
As amateurs, yeah.
They came down and trained with myself and Luke before the New Delhi 2010 Commonwealth Games. They came down and done camps before the tryouts of the 2012 Olympics. They then come down many times during their pro career for sparring. So I've hosted the boys many times. I'm so happy for these two boys because these guys is what boxing's about. These two guys, Jason and Maloney, they don't have a massive layoff in between fights and come into training camp. They're never out of the gym because after a fight, they're in there working on their craft to be better. They're not just coming to lose weight and get ready for a fight. So these guys are always in camp. They're ready at the drop of a hat. During the COVID, they quarantined for weeks and months, going to America, then back to Australia. They've done that like 3 or 4 times. These guys are the epitome of what you want in a fighter. They get the job done. There's no hoo-ha. There's no bagging at other fighters. There's no slander or talking shit on social media. These two guys is what Australian boxing is really about and is what you'd want your fighter to be like. So I can't really praise them any more than that, Lyndon. They're two great fighters. They're two great guys. And I wish them all the best. And I know they're both going to be world champions within a week of each other.
Yeah,
I'm so happy. Andrew's going to win the second world title. And Jason, his third time at it, third crack and third time lucky for Jason.
Yeah, and we'll be there. I'll be there to cover it all, the two guys. So
I'll be there. I'll be there for Andy's. I'm not sure I can do the full week, but I'll be there for Andy's.
yeah. No, well, it'll be an awesome time. So I'll be there to cover it for all you guys over there as well. Now, Carl, he's got. All right, now, I just want to clarify something. I think it was you, Carl, that had a crack at Jason a few weeks ago about the Nonito Donaire situation. I have actually had it clarified, and I'm happy to had a good talk to Tony Told. I'm not talking out of school here. I think it was more of a promotional thing we've talked about at Tazzy, the Pro Bellum thing and the top rank thing. There was a little bit of this going on. It was a top ranked decision to go the WBO route. However, if Donaire wins and Jason wins, then prepare for war, I would say, because there'll be a unification fight happening. So that's all
100%.
I'll say on that. So
100%.
don't jump off too early, Carl, because when Donaire and Jason fight for the WBO, WBC belt, I would hope you'll be buying the pay-per-view. So, all right, got a couple more things to go through, Tazzy. This weekend, of course, we've got Big Daddy Lucas Brown fighting Jarrell Miller in Dubai. Just wanted to wish Lucas all the very best there. He's a great bloke, great for Aussie boxing. Obviously, one of the biggest punches you'll ever see. He's up against it, but as I said earlier, you got to be in it to win it.
You sure do, mate. And is it Dana? Dana good still fighting as well?
Yeah, Dana Coolwell.
Dana Coolwell.
That's a very good question. Actually, I think he is. Hang on, I'll bring that up on the box rec while I'm going. Always have it open just in case this.
Sorry, Lyndon, I don't want to throw you off coy here, but you know.
No, you are 100% correct. He's fighting Hasibullah Ahmadi. He's 15-0. Over 8 rounds. So all the best to Dana Coolwell.
You know how I know that, Lyndon?
You know everything, mate.
I'm just a boxing encyclopedia. Peter Maniatis.
I reckon Mike would have known that, though, wouldn't he?
Mike doesn't know shit. Come back, Peter. Come back. Come back.
Andy. Carl and I were looking forward to Nonito and Jason. Carl was more disappointed than I was when it's not happening. And look, again, I'm not talking out of school. I've got it straight from the horse's mouth. Jason was absolutely pissed that this fight didn't happen, but it is what it is there, boys. You just got to, it's a business this as well. It's not just emotions. It's not just about the fans. It's a business as well. And don't worry, boys. I reckon later in the year you're going to get your fight. On to another potential fight. Tazzy, I want to get your thoughts on this. Joseph Parker, Dempsey McKean. What are your thoughts? There's been talk this week that it might happen. What do you reckon?
Good fight. 2-3 years ago, bad fight for Dempsey. At the moment, good fight.
Yeah.
Parker's sort of not what he was. I still think it's too good for Dempsey, though. Parker beats him. Yeah. But 2-3 years ago, bad fight. At the moment, not a bad fight. But I think Parker wins. And I'm a bit surprised that they're sort of going to risk losing Dempsey's and a fight against Joshua or someone bigger because he's not going to beat Parker.
No, I think if Parker turns up in shape mentally and physically, I think he's a bit too good for Dempsey. But, you know, maybe it's a situation where, you know, a Joseph Parker or one of those guys are saying, not a Joseph Parker, an Anthony Joshua, one of those guys who's been touted as fighting, said, look, it's going to be a real hard sell unless he can beat someone like a Joseph Parker. So we're going to have to risk it and put him in with him. Because, I mean, Parker, McKean and Joshua would be a really hard sell except for in Australia. And I just don't think it's big enough for Australia. But anyway.
Eddie Hearn don't play around. Hearn don't play around. He wants to pretty much cut dead weight. If he doesn't think you're up there, see you later.
Now, I'm a little bit hesitant about putting this up, Tazzy. I don't want to make your head any bigger than what it is, but Mr. Pad says, Tazzy, our own Bert Sugar.
Mate, thank you. Bert Sugar was a legend.
He was.
Full respect to the great man. Love the way he analysed boxing, and that's a very humbling compliment.
Compliment.
Thank you so much.
Certainly was, mate. Adam Kelly. Now, actually, Adam, I think
Mike.
Sorry.
Mike's more like Rain Man.
Yeah,
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
He's a bit quirky.
So Adam says it's so good for Aussie boxing. It's getting better. Now, I think Adam, I was going to comment on your or on your question or comment earlier that you weren't that impressed about the undercard of the weekend. Probably one of the only ones I've found so far, mate. But I can sort of see your view in certain aspects. I think he said he got there after Nikita and Bo. So apart from Hardman and Murdoch, the other two weren't overly great. But mate, you pay your money. So you can have your own opinion. G'day, Matt says the Big Daddy fight has more fights on it than a Don King card. Yeah, well, I think it does. Where's the event?
I miss those Don King cards. I miss them.
It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 fights on the card, including 3 10-rounders. So who else is on there? So Jarrell Miller, Lucas Brown. They're the only ones sort of we know off the top of me without looking through it. But anyway, all right, mate, let's keep moving through. Onto some international news, a couple of things. Big news, of course, Canelo and John Ryder is official. I'll just jump that off the card there. Get that off the screen.
You going to Mexico, Lyndon? You going to Mexico?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's on May the 6th. It's only 3 days before I was going to get there. So, I don't know. I'm not quite sure about going to Mexico, mate. I've been to Tijuana once. I'm not sure about going right into Mexico. There's a little bit of stuff goes on over there. I'm not really quite sure what I'll do. But, hey, it would be good, though, wouldn't it?
Would be awesome, mate. We usually go to the Canelo fights, mate.
Yeah, I've been to his last few, Canelo. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I don't want to say anything against our Mexican friends out there. It's in Guadalajara, Mexico, the Jalisco Stadium. But, yeah.
I love our Mexican friends. I love them.
I just, look, maybe I'm just pigeonholing a little bit. I'm just not quite sure about the whole, what is it, the cartels and right over there. But anyway, maybe we'll see. All right, the last point of call before we call it a night, Tazzy, it is, well, it's been turning into a circus, but it's not quite there yet. It's Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk. Now, Tyson Fury came out and said it's 70-30 for Usyk. Usyk surprisingly called his bluff and said, I'll take it. So it was close to being done, but now what's being said is, it's thrown a fly in the ointment, is that now Usyk's management have said, we'll take 70-30 only if it happens on April 29th. If it gets delayed and it's after that, then we go back to the drawing board. So please, boys, let's get it done on it for April 29th at Wembley.
Yeah, I've got no interest, mate. Until it's actually done, I don't want to hear the games and the head mind games. And like, great fight when it happens, great fight. Two big fans of both. But until I hear a contract signed, I don't even really want to discuss it, Lyndon. I don't buy into the bullshit.
Yeah, I'm with you. No, I agree. And especially when Tyson Fury's involved. We all love Tyson. But, geez, he plays some games and, he just throws so many spanners in the works. I'm with you.
You're frustrating to deal with.
Oh, look, if it does happen, hey, who knows? It could be Fury, Usyk in Wembley, over to Mexico for Canelo and Ryder, and then up to Vegas for the other two. But anyway, in a perfect world, that'd be great. But I'm not sure our better halves would appreciate that. But
no, I don't think so, mate. I really don't think so.
And you're right, Team Batman Boxing. It would be an awesome atmosphere. It would be insane. So, look, guys, I think that's about it for this week. Apologies if we haven't got to everyone's comment or questions. Tazzy, you look like you got a bit going on tonight. You need a bit of rest. It's been a big few days for you.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank everyone that supported Bo and myself and messaged just good luck and all our great sponsors. And, really it was a rocky story. A young Tasmanian kid. Tasmanians don't get many opportunities, obviously. A Tasmanian kid there to be great. I could have kept Bo unbeaten. He's 7-0. I could have probably got him 20-0. But we're not about that. We wanted to test ourselves against one of the best. And even though he's only 5 fights in, we think he's one of the best. Huge name, the Zoo name, and on the biggest show, on No Limit pay-per-view. So, as I said, fighters dream of doing this, and Bo can say he done it. So, thank you for all your support. There can only be one winner in boxing, the toughest game in the world. And my guy, showed all the heart. He didn't get knocked out. He definitely didn't quit, and he was there still ready to keep going. That if it would have been allowed to, which totally understand. The referee stopped. That's fine. We accept that. But he was in it the whole time, and he'll be back. And thank you again, guys, for all your support.
We'll give him our very best, mate. We can't see him back. Can't wait to see him back in action. So back to normal.
He's a good guy, mate.
I think we're back to normal next week too, mate. Apologies for being on a Wednesday night. Look, I'm not going to lie. The AFL season starts tomorrow night. The Mighty Blues are on against the Tigers tomorrow night, and it had to be tonight because there's no way I'll be looking at the screen like this every 2 seconds. So, come on, the Mighty Blue Boys. And
who are they playing?
Sorry,
Who
Tigers,
are they playing?
Richmond.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Good luck.
Spoken like a true Collingwood supporter. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Thanks, Tazzy. Look forward to seeing you next week, mate. Might try and get Mike Altamura on as well and have a chat about everything. Still plenty going on in both Aussie and world.
Before we go, shout out Frank Maselli, legend. Shout out to Big Bill Hack. He's from Norfolk, Tasmania, but he's on the road at the moment. He's travelling for Australia with his beautiful family. Big Billy Hack, one of our greatest supporters on Boxing Deep Dive.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, guys, and look forward to seeing you next week.